Back when I used to work at Google, I used to bring my own Tupperware to get the cafeteria food so I wouldn't have to pay for my own food.
I was making around $70,000 a year and I still felt like I couldn't afford my own groceries. This is episode 3 of how I became the first millionaire in my family.
I would stay late in the office so I could eat dinner for free.
And even Venmo my friends down to the exact cent so that every dollar was accounted for, which honestly was really cheap of me, so I'm sorry. But I wasn't doing all this to save money for myself. Because we grew up in poverty, I had to pay off my student loans myself and did it out of survival. And the worst part was how powerless I felt. Like I was still that kid who watched his parents argue about rent and couldn't do anything. But in 2018, something changed. I paid off my debt, got my first promotion, and for the first time in my life, I could actually breathe. And I wasn't useless anymore. Until my dad got into an accident.
My dad has always been the hardest working person I know. He built his business with his 2 hands, plumbing, electrical, lighting. He did it all by himself. One day he was on a ladder installing new lights on the ceiling. And before you know it, he slipped and he fell 10 feet and was rushed to the hospital. And while he was in the hospital, a group broke into his business and stole $20,000 worth of inventory from his store. And I remember standing next to him in the hospital bed crying, asking him, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna fix it? And even while he was drugged up, he looked at me and said, don't worry, Jerry, I'll figure it out. And he fell asleep. Growing up, moments like this broke me because it made me realize as a kid how useless I was. I had no job, I had no power, I couldn't do anything. But this time was different. I had a job, I'm an adult, and I wasn't useless anymore. So I wrote a plea online asking for help, and it worked. When I told my dad the payment was covered, he looked up at me, smiled, and went back to sleep. I'll never forget that look because it was the first time in my life when I felt like I could finally be useful. I could finally take off some of the load that he's been carrying by himself. And that's what I learned what a good job actually does for you. It allows you to show up for when your family and friends need you. And the funny thing is, I still eat out of a Tupperware today. Not for survival, but because it reminded me of the year I stopped feeling useless.